Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. You can also find a way to take it to the stupid, which Ryan Garcia has taken it beyond the stupid. Now, I'm not going to play the little clips of him ranting and raving and just showing us what obviously he learned in the house with mom and pop. We already knew that his pop had a little bit of the sauce in him. The way he went about attacking Bill Haney's hair. And let me tell you something. A lot of us have great senses of humor. And when Bill Haney was like, talking to about the man with the toupee, he was making fun of Ryan Garcia's father, who I'm assuming has a toupee. That shit was funny. And for me, if Henry Garcia would have said, well, at least it's not nappy, I would have laughed at that. And I'd have been like, great comeback. But see, when you start saying nappy-headed MFer and effing nappy hair, you MFer and stuff like that, you see, that puts a little more emphasis behind it. Because look, to me, if you can sit there and try to make a joke about somebody, I think it's only fair for them to hit you back with something. But the banter continued, and it's the way, right? It's the way Ryan Garcia's dad was saying. I was like, damn, he was one step away from calling Bill Haney a no-gooder. And I was like, that's not good. So to hear Ryan rant and rave like he did, I'm not surprised. There are a lot of people who talk like that. But to me, whatever you talk inside your house with your family, it's kind of where it should stay. I've dealt with all kinds of situations. I've had people that I was responsible for, and I knew that they had an issue with other races. See, the thing is, right? See, I didn't grow up that way, so maybe because, both of my parents were pretty religious, you know what I'm saying? But all they would say is, love all, hate none, and never question the way God made you. Like I used to hear that from a little bitty kid, man, all up until now, right? So I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't see color, but I'll be honest with you, I didn't see color till I was 14. And if I give you the story behind that shit, it'll probably blow your mind, but it's ain't about me right now. But that's a true ass statement that I just made. I ain't see color. I didn't see that shit till I was 13, 14, and in ninth grade. Yeah, because one of my brother, he was already out of school. Yeah, I was in ninth grade. Now, don't get me wrong. I used to recognize my boy Nathan was Japanese and white. Eric was black. Tone was half Thai and black. Thomas was Korean and white. I recognized that Gerald was black. Bernard was black. My boy here was Filipino. Heidi was Filipino. I recognize everybody. But I never thought about it. But I guess that's why till today I don't carry on N-word and bad talking religion. I don't even drink. I used to drink. I stopped drinking about 15 years ago. Yeah, about 15 years ago. I was never a big drinker, but I stopped drinking about 15 years ago. And even when I did drink, I don't know, I guess because I've always been kind of chill, I had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, but I never got drunk and wanted to fight, or got drunk and wanted to cuss, or got drunk and wanted to insult people. You get a nice little buzz. I don't know, man. My mind was always on the honeys. I don't know about everybody else, but that's what came out of me, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that lets you know That's how I'm wired. First name single, last name mingle. Not about trying to stir up shit. So when I look at Ryan Garcia and everything he said, and he comes and apologizes now, I'm like, nah. That man was high, drunk, whatever he was, and what really is in him, that's what came out. And for anyone to alibi for him talking about what we need to do is we need to come together and we need to uplift him and we need to understand. Man, shut up. The fuck out of here. Now, I don't agree with people saying that we need to put blood in his mouth. Ryan Garcia is saying that no one's touched him. They're not going to touch him. I'm protected by Jesus. Okay. That's what he feels. Who are we to tell him he's wrong to feel that way? But when I hear somebody saying, oh, yeah, he think he's protected by Jesus, okay. Well, he's going to have a hell of a time when I hit him with these bing bings. I'm like, God damn. So now people want to assault Ryan? Y'all want to put your hands on him? And you'll quit taking it to the stupid. You're going to throw your life away because of Ryan dumbass Garcia? Matter of fact, I may start calling him Ryan Nigg Garcia. That would suit him pretty good. Right? Ryan Nigg Garcia. Y'all going to throw your life away for that? Get in trouble? That's stupid. He come out here and apologizing and shit. Let me tell you something. If a person is trying to apologize to you, right, for some harm they caused, to me, it should register as far as the delivery and your acceptance. But somehow with Ryan's apology, it just doesn't seem to quite really, I don't think it really landed. I don't think it landed the way he was hoping it would, where people will accept it and move beyond him just basically letting everybody know he's a bigot, right? Because I listened to it, and I'm like, my man he don't sound too genuine, in my opinion. All that, bro, oh yeah, bro, and bro. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is this, bro? He can't talk. Bro. I was like, how about this? Hold. I hold your horses. I don't. Take it to the stupid. But I don't want to hear that shit. No, it didn't sound sincere. And I think a lot of people had a very, soft sense that when Ryan Garcia was delivering it, that it just didn't really move them, and maybe they were hoping that it would just kind of wrap them up and get them to see him in a different light. But I don't think many people are ready to move on from what, Ryan Garcia, from how he acted yesterday, man. But Ryan Garcia is just notoriously out of control. But if you're going to try to apologize and you want it to land to where people accept it, you can't be out here talking about something and something and something, but I'm sorry, but. To me, that invalidates the apology. You can't be coming out here talking about, I'm sorry if I hurt you. I mean, if. You would think something didn't happen, well, if. What you mean, if? Can't take you serious, man. And then when he's out here talking about, well, what happened, to me, that's vague. No, specifically say what you did and take accountability for what you did. Say it. Don't be afraid to say it now. Say it just how you said it. Because that tells me you ain't really taking, personal responsibility. And then the things I said, if you were affected by it, My man, you again trying to get out of responsibility. You can't escape it. It's on you. And all those words and explanations and justifications and talking about who gave you the N-word pass and who was hyping you up and who was this and who was that. You just painted the picture to the world that you really are, one, a bigot, and two, how Oscar de la Hoya and Bernard Hopkins described you. Man, you a kid. All that money, very little intelligence. Surround yourself with a bunch of bozos. Blind leading the blind. And believe you me, people, that wasn't the first time that he talked like that. You can see how he was talking, the type of jokes he was making. The people around him, they're making the jokes too. That shit is crazy. I got a great sense of humor. Great sense of humor. Comedians, jokes they make and all that, I got a great sense of humor. But there's a such thing as taking it a little too far. And I listened to Ryan when he was saying stuff. And I was like, okay, at first I was like, okay, my man sound like he's joking and being sarcastic, right? Because look, I got a great sense of humor. I ain't just one of these bandwagon that's gonna jump on here and talking about, oh, we gotta get Claude and Ray, start round 2 of the killing spree and find Ryan Garcia. Nah, man, get out of here with that. I try to listen to him, I got a good sense of humor. Ain't too much off limits with me, with my sense of humor. But you see, when he went overboard with that, it's the way he was saying it, and how he hate and F, the no-gooders, F no-gooders, and then that shit about Muslims. I'm like, God damn. That's when I said, okay. These guys aren't just trying to get a rise out of someone. There's something, something this guy want to get off his chest. And both of those things, it turned me off. But I was still like, yeah, he's young and dumb. Sound like he's out here not realizing that this shit ain't going to end well for him. Just trying to troll, get a reaction out of people, him and his dumb friends, right? And I've dealt with situations similar to that, where some people, it's easy to look at any race and make jokes about the race, right? I'm sure everybody has done it, from what a person likes to eat, whether they can dance, whether they can drive a car, how well they speak English, how many jobs they have. All that shit is fair play when it comes to sense of humor, right? To me, in my opinion. But there comes a point to where some people, especially when they get alcohol and shit in them, they take it to another level. And they say shit. And Ryan Garcia, he took it to a whole nother level. And then that thing with George Floyd. Let me tell you something. Maybe some people out here haven't. I realized something at a young age. My pops told me this, right? He was like, yo. He said it was talking about girls, right? He was like, you and your brother's gonna have plenty women, right? And he was like, but don't mistreat no woman's daughter. And I was like, yeah, I hear you. He was like, yeah, y'all gonna do what you want, but I'm telling you, don't mistreat no woman's daughter. But what really got my attention when he was like, you see, everyone who's walking around here, they have someone who loves them. So be very careful about how you treat people. That stuck out to me. The stuff about, don't mistreat nobody's daughter. I was like, yeah, I hear you, Dad, but I got to go out here and seal the deal. You know what I mean? They're being born every day. I got to get them. But my dad wasn't really trying to hear that shit. But the thing that stuck out to me is everyone walking around here, no matter what you think, they all have someone who cares about them. Just like Ryan Garcia has people who care about him, right? But that shit, and they're gonna overlook all of his bad qualities. Same thing with George Floyd. Whatever bad qualities he had, I don't know him. And you see shit that they say out here, and we go to the internet and whatever. I mean, I don't know what's true and what's not, but what I'll say is, whatever bad qualities he had, there are people in his immediate family who loved him and accepted him for who he is. The way he got fucking slaughtered, that was horrible. I had never, I never watched that video until maybe like 2 years or so after the murder. I never watched it because I'm too busy with my goddamn kids. I'll be sitting around here watching TV, man. I'm out. We like goddamn Daniel Boone around here, Tom Sawyer. My kids and I, we like Smokey the Bears. We out here fucking all over the place, up in the bush, hunting, fishing. My kids and I don't be sitting around here, and I don't watch TV. I watch boxing. But I think 2 years had passed, and it was a clip that popped up on my Facebook, and I was like, they were like, oh, this is just so wrong what happened to George Floyd, and the guy in the knee on the neck, and he didn't get up. And I was like, okay, I said, I keep hearing people talk about this shit, but I never watched it. I knew that it was, like I said, like a 10-second clip. I never watched the whole thing, but it was the whole video. And I remember I said, okay, let me watch it, because I can't handle shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about a racial element. No, I'm talking about, like, I don't like seeing people get hurt like that or get killed. I can't take all that shit. Like, it bothers me. Maybe because I've seen a little bit of that shit. But it ain't for me to get into that on here, because some of y'all know a little bit about me, but others you don't. And if you don't, you don't. And I ain't here to fucking explain nothing to you. But what I'll tell you is, when I watched that video in its entirety, and I remember watching that, and I was thinking to myself, like, when I'm watching it, I fucking started shouting at the TV, like, yo, get up. Like, I started watching that, it was like I was fucking there, and I was like, get off his fucking neck. And the reason I'm telling you that is because the same way that shit, it bothered me to the point to where I like, for the next, like, month or so, like, I was just like, what the fuck was that? And I was just like, yo, my kids, I have 4 boys. I'm like, they need to get home. I need to make sure they understand the importance of getting home safely. You know what I'm saying? And for me, it's not even a racial thing. It's with everybody out there who has children. When it comes to these police, right? You have some where it's a bid for power with them. You know what I'm saying? And they are by all means going to make sure that they win when there's a bid for power taking place. And for everyone out there, y'all need to tell y'all kids, make sure y'all get home safe. So the same way that shit bothered me, there are a lot of people outside of George Floyd's family who were affected by the way that man was killed. And when Ryan Garcia said that, they got fanatics out here, people. Same way they have these weird-ass people where something's wrong with them and something sets them off. And they'll go and shoot up a fucking school, an elementary school, a daycare, go up into a place of worship, go up into a job. That's crazy. They got people like that who exist. They got these fanatics out here who feel a kind of way about George Floyd. And the thing is, Ryan Garcia, we all know what he looks like. We all know who he is. But the people he offended, especially those extremists, he don't know who they look like. They could be standing right next to him. They could be part of his entourage. And then bad things happen. We didn't even talk about how he's talking about the shit about Muslims and Jewish people. What's wrong with this guy? And again, I sat back and I just listened. I listened to those little clips of him. I was like trying to understand what he was doing. But I was like, okay. Enough is enough. You know what I'm saying? And I do believe, based on the way he conducted himself, I do believe this man intentionally took some shit. And some of you are going to say, hood champion, you flip-flopping. I ain't flip-flopping. I never fucking took a real stance. I told you I felt there was some shady business there. And I was like, it seemed like a scandal. It's like a crime syndicate trying to bring down Ryan as far as trying to make it look like he intentionally did something. And Bill and Devin Haney, I said they should shut up because to me the ball's in Ryan's court to prove his innocence. They have the upper hand, but the more they talk and Victor Conte talks and the goddamn the commissioner over there for the New York State Athletic Commission stepping down, I was like, it's just too many moving pieces. Something seems off here. But I said, just sit back and just see how the cards fall. And we sat back, we started seeing the cards fall, and now Ryan Garcia, to me, he exposed himself. And I truly do believe, right, if a person really does hate, right, a person because of, and this is what's so messed up, right? I just see human beings, man. That's just in me. I just don't get caught up in that racial element or nothing, man. I ain't fucking like that. I don't know how to think that way. But when it comes to Ryan Garcia, I truly believe with the shit he was saying, if you really hate somebody because of their race and their religion, right, or hate a race or a religion, and the person you get in the ring with is of that particular race or of that religion, or one of the many relations you hate, one of the many religions that you hate, why would you want to get in there and be fair to that person? Especially when you already got humiliated in a fight with Tank Davis. Ain't nowhere in the world you want to get humiliated again by a person of a race that you hate. And although Devin, to me, you know, they can do what they want, but I don't know if they're the best examples of followers of the faith of Islam, right? That's just me. But at the same time, he's of a race that you hate, right? By Ryan Garcia's own words. And you have a religion. He's of a religion that Ryan Garcia's hate. He hates. Why would you want to lose to that guy? Now, I don't care what nobody says. Like what we're talking about with Ryan's rant yesterday. That has nothing to do with boxing. That shit has everything to do with boxing. If you're going to be Al Capone with the conversation, go all the way, man. Tippy-toeing around shit. This doesn't really have to do with boxing. Yes, it does. He's a boxer, isn't he? It has to do with boxing. Mauricio Suleiman's involved, isn't he? Every goddamn boxing media outlet, not content creators on YouTube. We don't count. I'm talking about the big time shit. Everybody's talking about it. That shit is boxing related. We'll see what they decide to do with it, man. But I'm telling you, I just think his apology was fake. And I can't see what's in this guy's heart. I just think his apology was fake. Because there was too much passive voice, too much explanations, too much trying to justify, too much but, I'm sorry, but, you know, if I offended you, but, you know, for what happened, you know what I mean? It's like, nah. I ain't really, I'm not really, I'm not accepting anything this guy's saying because, you know, I think he is what he is. Now, if I was to ever see him, would I say something to him? No. Why? I don't care. I'm 49 years old, chilling, living my best life, man. I don't care about that bullshit. If Ryan Garcia was 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, I'd be like, nah, we got to show some compassion, try to help him, peer pressure, being easily influenced. This man needs some help. Ryan Garcia got above, well, how much kids he have? Three, four, about three, four different women or some shit. That don't mean that he's mature, but yeah, he's an adult. So how does that treat his ass as an adult? It's like if you catch some 14-year-old out there smoking a cigarette or drinking a beer. You don't sit there, man, and want to put him in jail or arrest him or send him to juvenile hall. That's dumb, man. We gotta get in front of it. Say, help this young guy or girl. Ryan Garcia out here, he know exactly what he's doing. Y'all don't sit there and play into that nonsense. Ryan Garcia ain't no victim, man. But I gotta check myself sometimes because of my background, you know. I know what it's like to get people out there who find themselves in hot water and then start crying and shit. I've dealt, man, you know how many times I've dealt with them situations. Y'all have no idea. Let me give you a true fucking story. There was this, talking about people, right? There was this, let me give you the whole story. This whole shit is gonna blow your mind. It's a true story. I was in Korea, and I was responsible for a section, right? I had about, I don't know, 12 people in there or some shit. But there was one guy underneath me. I was directly supervising him, and he had a subordinate, happened to be a female. And since we're talking, I said he was Filipino, she was white, right? We were project managers, and there was a schedule, a master schedule, supposed to be put together, and we were supposed to get all of our updates in Friday before noon. The young lady, who happened to be the white girl, this was like the fourth goddamn Friday. She didn't do what she was supposed to. So I didn't say nothing. I let them go home. I recognized that the changes weren't done. I said, okay, enough is enough. This was 4 times now. So I told the supervisor to handle it the first 3 times. Of course, he didn't handle it right. So came that next week, that Monday. I was like, let me talk to you guys. So anyway, I had him in the room first. And I told him that this is what I found out. I stayed late. I made the corrections, which I didn't want to do, but, you know, I wasn't going to keep no one late. I said, let me see if they're going to do the right thing. I think they could pull one fast. So I told him, I said, I know she didn't make the updates because I got a phone call about some shit that wasn't correct. I had to correct it all. I didn't say nothing. Let y'all go home to see if she would try to come in on the weekend to do it or come in Monday and do it or just not do it at all. So what I did is I locked the schedule. So when she came in, she couldn't touch it. I put a password on it. Password protected it. She couldn't touch it. It was an Excel document. Anyway, called her in there to talk to her. But he was in the room now. He was in the room. So he went and got her. She came in there, we were talking. And I asked her about that schedule. And she was saying that, you know, she did all of her updates and everything to the master schedule. I said, all right, cool. And I was like, did you print a copy out? She's like, yeah, I print a copy out this morning and I made sure everything was good to go. She couldn't have printed it. She couldn't have printed out the one that I had. She had a hard copy on her desk, but the one that I had, which was the master one, I had it locked. So she went, she must have realized, it printed out for me. So she went and must have realized the password's on it. So she couldn't understand why there was a password. But she printed out what she had. She was like, yeah, this is it, these are the updates. So it was all wrong. So then I said, okay, this is what it's going to be. And I had in my folder the one that I updated. I said, you couldn't get into that schedule. That's what it took her about 20 minutes to come back. So you couldn't figure out the password. That's what took you so long to print it out. I said, I password protected it. This is the updated schedule. I sat back and I did the updates. And I said, this is what it's going to be. I was like, this is the 4th time. And the thing with those schedules is there's a lot of agencies that depended on that schedule. And that shit had to be correct. So I said, this is what it's going to be. You're going to get reprimanded. Okay? I was like, and to her supervisor, I said, you're going to get canceled said, so you can consider this. I said, not a verbal counselor. I'm going to document all this, and then we'll sit down and you guys will acknowledge it. Now he and the young lady were in the room, and he already knew what was coming. She was acting like, well, I don't understand. So in my head, I was like, bitch, I don't give a fuck what you think. You ain't gonna fucking get me put in hot water, stupid. I'm trying to work with you, but you just don't give a fuck. So anyway, I'm chilling in my office. About 5 hours later, right? I go to lunch and come back. They had, now check this out. They had this guy down the hall who was over like morale and shit of the unit. Happened to be a white guy, right? Y'all gonna trip out on the story. He calls me down to his office. Now we're the same rank and shit. He like, yeah, I just need to talk to you about what happened with you and so. How about we call her Airman Dumbass, right? So you and Airman Dumbass. And I'm like, I said, well, what happened? He was like, well, yeah, did you have to talk to her today? I'm like, yeah. He was like, well, she came in here crying. And I at that point, I just shut up. I said, let me see what he's going to say. And she started crying. And she said that, you were shouting at her and cussing at her and you had her in the room. And when she got up to leave, you stood in front of the door and wouldn't let her leave. I was like, wow. I said, okay. I said, what else? He was like, well, no, that's pretty much it. I just want to hear your side because I don't think it's kosher for you to be shouting and cussing at them and then blocking them in the door and not letting them out and continue to shout and cuss at them. I said, yo, that sounds like some shit out of a fucking movie. I said, how about this? I was like, her supervisor, I talked to him first. Then I told him to go get her. He brought her in, and I talked to both of them. They were both in the room at the same time. I was like, and she was shocked that I was going to reprimand her ass. I said, which I still am. I was like, and she started crying. As soon as she started crying, I said, I got up and I left. I said, nope, you can sit in here with her as a supervisor. I'm going to leave. I said, as soon as I saw tears fill up in her eyes, I bounced. I said, because I didn't want to make the situation any worse. I said, because when I see that crying shit, I was like, I ain't got time for that. You fucked up. Don't start crying now. I said, but I know how I am, so I left. He was like, I said, yeah, you can ask him. The Filipino dude. I was like, go get him. I said, I don't need to be in here. If he's not a fucking liar, he'll tell you what happened. So the guy grabs his bald head and drags his hand across his eyes and nose and big fucking country mustache. He's like, Carl, I'll call him in here. Because his whole fucking head and face turned red. Because he at first I didn't understand why he got so pissed off. Because I was like, yo, this motherfucker called me in here like he is about to fucking, send me to fucking, Leavenworth. You know what I'm saying? So obviously he believed her fucking story because she came in there to him crying and all that boohoo bullshit. So I'm chilling, right? He calls the guy down, the Filipino dude. I guess, he wasn't too happy because I'm writing his ass up, but he told the truth. He like, no, that didn't happen. Sergeant Hood Champion didn't do that. So anyway, the fucking guy calls the girl down. Now he getting in her ass for lying to him. Then he calls me back down and his fucking face is shaking because he has apologized to me. And I'm just like, man, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? And I walked out of there. And I was like, man, I don't know about that dude, man. That motherfucker was acting kind of, made me feel like, maybe there's a little bit more to that conversation than just him trying to protect her. Maybe he had a little bit of sauce in him, right? But I didn't think nothing of it. But I know he was a little weird. Like, you just know him, some people, funny acting. So check this shit out, right? About a month later, my partner, he was over the whole, so like say you have an organization, right? I'm trying to break down the military structure. You have an organization, and in the organization you have the CEO, and then you have, let's say like a vice president, right? Let's just say the vice president of the organization was my partner, right? And he pulled me aside. He was like, yo, that guy who was over the morale and welfare of the organization. I said, yeah. I said, I know him. he got fired. I'm like, what? He's like, he's a fucking racist. I'm like, yeah, you think so? He's like, I know so. Now the guy who's talking to me, he happens to be a white guy, right? I was like, well, I said, I suspected something was up with that guy. I said, but I don't trip over that kind of shit unless I have something with some teeth. I said, but he acted a little weird. So let me tell you what happened. They have a lot of golfing and stupid shit, right? I never really got into that. But they were golfing, and the guy who was over morale and welfare, right? They're out there talking, and somehow the joke came up about small ball sports versus big ball sports, right? And the guy was saying something along the lines of, yeah, you never get any blacks out here to play these small ball sports because supposedly they don't have small balls. Ha, ha, ha. They play the big ball sports, basketball, football, ha, ha. And my buddy there, the vice president, he's there with a group of guys, right? No one laughs at it. Because the guy's like, yeah, something about black people. And now my boy's from the South too. Remember, he's a white guy. And he's sitting there, he's just looking at him. And so he tells the guy, he's like, after everything, like the rest of the golfing event, now everyone had already talked. They're like, yo, what the fuck is up with that guy? So, and remember, this guy was just over morale and welfare. He was nothing. Motherfucker said that to those guys, and that one guy in particular. They all were, all those guys. See, when you fucking with people who got power, they may not say nothing to you right there. They just make a mental note of it. Then they come and get together, and then they tear your ass up. So what my boy did, he was like, hey, look. He's like, on Monday, man. He's like, yeah, it's nice talking to you. On Monday, come by my office. It's like, first thing in the morning, he said, I got something I want to share with you. He's like, oh, okay. So now he's thinking he's probably going to get a good assignment or something positive, right? Because he's thinking everybody was laughing with him. He comes to the office, and my boy is up there. And the guy walks into his office. He's like, yeah, so this is what a vice president's office looked like. Now, remember, I'm not talking in military talk because you won't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm just trying to break it down to where you understand. And he's like, oh, this is what a vice president's office looks like, huh? Vice president of the organization. He's like, yeah. And the guy's looking at his awards and coins and shit. And then my boy has pictures of his wife and kids, but he has them turned facing him. So the guy who's over morale and welfare, he can just see the back of the frame. So when they start talking, the guy was like, you know what? You were talking about basketball and football, and while he's talking, he's turning the pictures around one by one. He was like, can I be honest with you? He's like, I happen to like, basketball, football, and what you call as big ball sports. And when he's turning the pictures around, the guy looks and sees that the guy who's the vice president's white has a black wife, and all of his kids, of course, mixed, black and white. And the racist morale and welfare guy fucking mouth drops. So he said, okay, he said, so by the way, now that you know that I really do like, big ball sports, even though you don't, he's like, by the way, you're fucking fired. Go pack up your stuff and meet me back up here in 1 hour. He was like, your commander knows. He was like, the group commander knows, the wing commander and the wing, it's a wing, the command chief, right? But let's just say basically everyone who needed to know had already been informed and had already agreed to get rid of that motherfucker over the fucking weekend. While dumbasses out there thinking everything's all good. Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. So he walked in Monday, they booted his ass. So when you look at that, right, what I'm saying is, and I said a whole lot, but when you're out here and you're just saying things and doing things, there are a lot of people who take offense to shit and you won't even know it. And I went off on a tangent because I was talking about my experience in dealing with people like that. The young lady with all those tears and crying, nobody got time for them fake apologies. And that asshole who was talking about small ball sports versus big ball sports and shit, he pissed off everyone who was out there with him that day. Because for some reason he just felt they were going to laugh with him. And they didn't. And I'll be honest with you, where he went wrong is he just started talking too much shit about race and saying more derogatory things. And they set his ass up good, boy. Put him on the chopping block. And with Ryan Garcia, I think he's kind of in a very similar position. Where his ass right now, you see people out here talking about, well, they never really done anything to Ryan and he's already on suspension and this doesn't really affect him. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all think nothing's happened to Ryan Garcia. Well, with Kanye, they had already moved swiftly because he made these comments about Jewish. Ryan said stuff about Jewish people. And look at what they did to Kanye. Yo, McNicholas, hold up. What I always say, shut up. Sit back, let this shit play out. And let's see what happens with Ryan Garcia. There ain't no knee-jerk reactions out here talking about they didn't do nothing to him yet. They don't move that fast. I'm telling you, don't move that fast. Let's sit back and see what happens with this man. He said some crazy shit. You see, this isn't like the Osterine. Nobody can prove if he took it intentionally or not, unless he comes out and says it. Nobody can prove that. I believe he did. He took it intentionally. I do. And the reason I believe that now, because of the shit he said. If you will hate a person because of their race, and hate them and hate their religion, and the person you're fighting just happens to be that race you hate and religion you hate, then I think you do anything you can to make sure that person, that religion doesn't beat you in the ring. But let's just see if I can see how it plays out. Let's see what really happens to him and with his money and lawsuits, and let's see what happens, because this could be the beginning of the end of this guy, because he still think it's a fucking joke. And I apologize, but I don't really apologize for pedophiles, and I don't this. And even if you're a Christian pedophile, and if you're this, it's like he hasn't learned. There's no one there that he'll listen to, or no one there to tell him to shut up. Someone, you need to have a hood champion in his corner to tell him, my man, time for you to, you need to shut up. Shut the fuck up. Like really, he doesn't have someone like that in his corner. He should have never come out and said anything today. Release a statement, or come out and do a very succinct apology. I said this, I'm sorry. Not all these buts, ifs. Nah. I know I hurt people. I know I offended people. I know the man was just in Saudi. Out there with all them kids. Muslim kids. Ronaldo, all them guys. This guy out there with Turkey al-Sheikh. This man got a huge following. You don't think? I mean, he need to shut up. He's still out here doing these. What's that shit on Twitter? Twitter Space. Still out here acting foolish. And yeah, he needs help. I'm not gonna act like he doesn't need help. Again, he has people that care about him, and they need to be able to get through to him to get him to go get the help he needs. But as far as HoodChamp is concerned, Ryan Garcia didn't hold his horses, and my man took it beyond the stupid. Y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. I hope old boy gets himself together. But don't expect me to come out here supporting this dude. No matter how talented he is as a boxer and all that. That shit that he did and how he carried on. People keep saying, oh, a person gets knocked out in the ring and they could never escape that. Well, people may look at you and see that, hey, this is the guy or girl who got knocked out or got their ass whipped, you know. But you could kind of understand that with boxing. There's someone got to be a winner and a loser. But that's not gonna make a person not want to deal with you, for the most part, right? Some people are just dumb, but for the most part, nah. May laugh behind your back and shit, but nothing really crazy. But when you come out and you spew hate, that make people not want to deal with you. And no matter what, that's much worse to be known for being that, a bigot, someone who hates, than someone who just got their ass beat in a boxing match. 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, Ryan Garcia will be out here talking about, what do you want me to do is something that I did when I was young, and he'll be with a bunch of gray hair in his head, 60 years old, and that shit will still come up. Yo, I'm in the breeze.